Commission. Wanted to welcome everybody to Lafayette this afternoon. Thanks for coming out. This is the second of 6 public information meetings that we'll be holding in this process, and then the county executive actually has one of his own, so we'll have 7 in total. Before I get started, I'll just, we have 3 members of the commission here right now, so we'll just like to introduce yourselves really quick.
Hi everybody, I'm Sharon Moran, I'm Commission Member 2. I live in DeWitt and I work at SUNY Environmental Science and Forestry.
Hi, I'm Michelle Sardo. I'm a Republican Elections Commissioner and I live in the town of DeWitt.
Okay, so again, the purpose of this meeting is to have an exchange about your thoughts on how we draw the new election districts. The current districts are in the back, the lines are in the back, on that great big huge map. That's what was created 10 years ago. None of us were part of that process 10 years ago, so we're all going through this for the first time as well. You know, feel free to get up and take a look at those, you know, as you wish. And there were some significant changes 10 years ago as the legislature went from 19 seats to 17 seats. This year, this time around, the legislature is not changing. So we're, obviously there have been some population shifts in the county, not really huge, but some towns grew, some towns shrunk just a little bit. The city of Syracuse grew a little bit as well. So that's, you know, part of the process of looking at all this. So with that, why don't we go ahead and start the conversation. The first one up is David Harding.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to speak this evening. My name is David. I'm a resident of the town of Manlius. I want to focus my comment mainly on the way the current maps are set up right now, and how a lot of them kind of break apart our communities and kind of combine different parts of the county that aren't really appropriate. You know, I'm talking about city areas, suburban areas, and rural areas. As one example I would give would be the town of DeWitt. It's split into 4 different legislative districts for some reason. Your district, number 12, includes the towns of Tully, Fabius, Pompey, but also a small part of Manlius, some of Janesville and DeWitt, and parts of Outer Comstock and South Campus in the city. It's hard to see what any of those, you know, what a lot of those places have to do with each other or why they would ever be put together. You know, how people in those communities can come together and agree on a lot of things just, you know, doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I think that when we look to create new maps, we need to really make ones that are contiguous, that make sense, that don't look very strange, and need to keep communities kind of together instead of just combining things willy-nilly in kind of, you know, ways that don't make sense. I also will comment, the person is not here right now, but one of the committee members in a newspaper article or radio article said, quote, "Not expecting any monumental changes with these maps." You know, that kind of creates this impression, you know, whether it's true or whether it's false, that certain members of the committee have already made up their minds about how these maps are going to look without any community input. And I think that's really unfortunate and something that other committee members should really avoid when they think about speaking to the media. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. There are lots of rules that pertain to this as we go through the process. Towns of 10,000 people, again, none of us were part of that map-making process, so I agree with some of your points. You cannot break up towns of less than 10,000 people. So Lafayette, Tully, Fabius, Pompey, Atisco, Spafford, Skaneateles, Marcellus, Elbridge, just going off the top of my head, Spafford, I don't know if I missed there or not. But towns like that, you're not supposed to break up. Also, election districts cannot be broken up. So that doesn't help some of the shape of some of the districts, because sometimes the election districts are a little bit oddly shaped as well to get the right population in there for voting places, et cetera. So just a couple of comments there. So thank you, David. Marguerite Dormer.
Hi, I'm Marguerite Dormer. I'm a resident of Town of Fabius. I appreciate you having this public hearing where people can discuss their views. My concerns are on the commission itself and the committee and how it was formed. So I would just start with what's the rush. Prior to the new census data, the sitting legislators signed a pledge in support of a nonpartisan independent redistricting commission just before the 2019 local election. Why are these same county legislators not keeping their pledge 2 years later? Apparently, the majority of the legislators have no desire to change the current system. This pledge appears to have been a lie. What's changed? What is the unnecessary rush? The newly elected county legislators on November 2nd will have plenty of time to appoint an independent redistricting commission. The results of the recent federal census data are not dependent on the November 2nd elections. There's time to address the changes in a thoughtful, methodical, independent process with an independent redistricting commission. Onondaga County citizens signed the Fair Maps petitions in favor of a nonpartisan independent redistricting commission. This clearly points to the Fair Maps process requested by the voters of Onondaga County. Let's wait until after the November 2nd election results are verified. Develop the nonpartisan independent redistricting commission that the Onondaga County voters are requesting and honor the pledge that the sitting legislators agreed to in 2019. The current census data needs to be incorporated in a thoughtful, methodical manner to produce the fair map needed for Onondaga County. It is imperative that the voters, not politicians, determine district lines. This independent, nonpartisan commission can evaluate the existing county legislative districts for equity and representation in relation to the population. Thank you.
Thank you. Elaine Dexter? Or, I'm sorry, I was going to say that wrong. Maybe Denton?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Elaine Denton. I live in the town of Manlius, in one of the election districts that is not included in District 10. I'm in the little section of District 12. I wanted to start with some questions. What is the public hearing today on exactly? Because the public notice, I would say, was unclear. Is this about the current district map and what we would like to see changed or not changed? Is this about the reapportionment process? I assume it's not about the new maps since we do not have these yet, which makes sense since this committee's first meeting was only 9 days ago. So I will stick with the first two questions. And I would ask that additional public hearings across the county be made once the new proposed maps are released. I would ask that these public hearings are scheduled at least 15 days after the new proposed maps are released, so the public will have time to study them, to gather their comments on them, and I would hope that this committee listens to the feedback before proposing a new map to the county legislature. This process should take time. I would think this process would be conducted over a few months, not weeks. There should be no rush. The new map will be in effect for the next 10 years, and our current map, I would say, needs some work. Neighborhoods and communities of interest should have representation at the county level as much as possible. They should not be split apart and have 4 different representatives, while keeping the districts should be similar in size and population. We have time to study this, to look at the data, to look at the geographic information, and get the public's input. And we should take that time to create fair districts. Thank you.
Thank you. Irene Workman.
I apologize for my pacing. I have an injury that makes it difficult to stand or sit for very long. So I will be saying my piece and probably heading out the door. I do want to thank you for the opportunity to speak this afternoon. I am going to express my dismay about the timing of this meeting. This ensures that a lot of people cannot make it as they are still at work and unable to attend. They may have wanted to be here, and this has made it very difficult for them. I'm also going to piggyback on some of what a couple of other speakers said. All the Democrats and 9 Republicans signed a pledge for nonpartisan redistricting. Does the makeup of this committee represent a nonpartisan redistricting? I don't think so. I'm pretty sure not, as a matter of fact. And Mr. Knapp, you were one who signed the pledge, as well as my representative, John McBride. So I'm concerned that how can we trust you to do what's in the best interest of our county if we cannot trust you to keep a pledge that you made 2 years ago, most of you this month. So that is a big concern for me. The fact that you do not have a map here, a completed map here for us to look at, so, I'm concerned because how are we supposed to, we don't know what it looks like. We don't know what you're bringing us, yet you're having hearings with an old map hanging up. So I would appreciate it if additional hearings were held after you created the new map. I would appreciate it more if you didn't rush into this and allow a nonpartisan redistricting to take place after the elections of November 2nd. Thank you.
Thank you. Nancy White.
I want to apologize to everyone for being late. I'm sorry I was stuck on traffic on the way over.
Dustin, if you want to introduce yourself.
Oh, I'm Dustin Zarni, Democratic Elections Commissioner, also on the redistricting or reapportionment committee.
Hi,
Traffic out here?
I'll tell you all about it. It was more inside the city than
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Thank you for holding the hearing. I basically just wanted to reiterate everything that I have heard so far that I was going to say, so I'm not going to repeat all of that. But I do have 2 questions, and my questions are similar to what you've heard. Why are you not adhering to the pledge that the legislators made when they signed the nonpartisan excuse me, independent commission agreement? And that would hold much more transparency and accountability. Anybody have an answer to that?
So I will say that these public hearing sessions, we were instructed that we're not here to take questions. So we're here to hear from the public, and I don't think you're going to get any answers. You know, we said that we were here to hear, so I don't know if this is the right appropriate forum for a back and forth.
Okay. Well, my other question, so maybe you can just put this in your head, is what factors or criteria are being used to redraw the maps? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Alan Sustain? I'm sorry.
My comments would have required answers, and there won't be answers, so I see no reason to ask the question.
Okay. Again, the thought process here was to have the old map so folks could make comments, kind of like David did at the beginning, which I thought were very constructive comments about, you know, vision for, you know, possibly some thoughts on changes. Mark this one.
Hi, I'm Mark Disler. I'm a resident of LaFayette. I think like most people in the room, sorry for those that don't have gray hair, I'm a recently retired, which is kind of odd that we're having a meeting like this. So I'm wondering if you just want to retire people here. I'm a senior vice president of a large engineering firm headquartered in Syracuse, and I'm a nonpartisan person. I like to vote for the person. I vote Democrat and Republican. And so when I hear about this redistricting, this kind of raised a flag for me to say, hey, well, here's a chance to be nonpartisan, to get our politics in line with the representation of the people. So I thought, hey, this is my time here to say something, hopefully in concert with other people, that the commission will hear us. That we want nonpartisan redistricting. We want both parties to express their support of what you guys come up with. That's what I'm hoping to hear. I want another hearing when I get together and you guys show me your work and give me the rationale of why you believe it's nonpartisan, why you believe it's fairly representative of the people, all of us here. Let's see. And because I really think a bipartisan redistricting is a really threat to our democracy. So not having the proposed maps here was a yellow flag for me. And then not having a nonpartisan commission with citizens, non-political people on the commission is actually a red flag for me. So we're beginning to really kind of poorly in this thing, and we're really kind of worried that we're not going to have a fair representation of people. So really what happens over the next 2 weeks, we only have 2 weeks before I decide whether I'm going to be nonpartisan in my voting going forward. So I'm really looking forward to see the Republican Party step up. It seems like it's that party that is the party that wants to drive this thing without a nonpartisan approach to this. And that's a yellow flag again for me. So thank you for letting me speak.
Dave, I think some clarification would be in order about the maps, when the maps are being presented and the hearings that might come after the maps, if that's okay.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So the schedule as outlined by the chairman, Hulslander, says that we will be presenting on October 27th our draft maps. There are 3 hearings after that, October 27th, 28th, and 29th, that are scheduled as of this point. The 27th and 28th are at night. The 29th is at 10 a.m. It's the county legislature, as well as on the 27th, is it St. Michael's Church?
Yes, I think so.
St. Michael's Church in Camillus on the 28th at 6 p.m. and East Syracuse Village Hall at 10 a.m. on Friday the 29th. So we plan on being at all of those, and I believe several commissioners are going to put in draft maps that should be available for those hearings.
And we tried to vary the times. No time is good for everyone. So we tried to do, we've got morning, we've got afternoon, we've got evening. You know, it's difficult. Everyone's busy. Brandy Whithoff.
Hi, thank you for having me. I can't see you very well, but if I put my glasses down, they fog up. So I'm gonna try my best.
I'm with you.
Brandy Whithoff, I live in the village of Marcellus. I mean, I think what most people have said echo my sentiments as well. Maybe 1 or 2 things I would add is that, you know, we only have a census every 10 years. And I think after the census, that's our opportunity to really analyze the data that has come back from the census. And from what I can tell, the way this commission is being rushed through, there's absolutely no time to analyze any data. And I think that's really unfair for the residents of this county. And that, honestly, I think it's a dereliction of duty of those of you who are public servants. You have a duty to analyze the data and to create district maps that are fair and competitive and representative. And by not doing that, you're not doing your job. Thank you.
Sarah Wall Bollinger.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm a resident of the town of Manlius, but during my day job, I work for the New York State Association for Rural Health, and I would like to speak on behalf of rural communities. I think that there's a tendency to base things, I mean, you're required to base things on population, and that tends to underrepresent rural communities' voice. And that by making districts that are north-south, you end up, as was mentioned earlier, getting suburban areas into the district. Whereas if, in this case, you made districts that were more east-west, and you had Lafayette, Tully, Atisco, more like that, that there'd be a couple representatives with a strong rural background from the southern towns that I think would be able to carry the message of rural residents more clearly in the legislature, and then at the same time allow maybe DeWitt to have something that could be more accurately representing their interests, which currently are very divided up. I mean, Manlius has 3 districts, but it's still mostly Manlius. DeWitt is all over the place, so I think that's one to definitely be relooked at. And I would honor that the commission take note of the communities that are still rural in Onondaga County and give them the opportunity to be heard in the county legislature.
Great.
I would also suggest waiting a little longer to finish. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman Nance, is this being recorded like the one earlier today is?
Yes.
It is being video recorded? Thank you. Just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Our last speaker who signed up is Bryn Lovejoy. Good night.
Good afternoon. My name is Bryn, and I'm a city resident. I live in the Strathmore neighborhood on the west side of the city. And I first want to say that I understand that redistricting brings a lot of different people to the table, and there are a lot of different ways you can do it, all of which might be characterized as fair, looking from one perspective or the other. And that there's no one right map that everyone in this room or everyone in our county would agree with. So I have 2 points related to my concerns as a city resident in this redistricting process. One is that I would ask, which echoes many people here, to slow down the process, to give more people a chance to weigh in. I know there are some very hotly contested ledge districts this year. There's some city races that are hotly contested. Certainly the mayoral race is overshadowing a lot of things in the city right now. And I think that people's attention is not on this process. That may be purposeful. I'm hoping that it is not. But I think that giving people a little time outside of the election time period to really focus on the redistricting process would be beneficial to get more people's voices heard, more people involved in the process. But as a city resident, my comments are focused on the impact on the city of redistricting. There are 9 current ledge districts, I think, that have city land within them, which is crazy to me because my district, the 15th, has parts of Solvay in it, has my neighborhood in it. It would take me 15 minutes to drive to the far end of that district. And what I would suggest is that the focus of redistricting, at least as it pertains to the city, should be to group people with similar interests vis-a-vis the relevant whole. I think I agree with the last commenter who talked about rural districts. I would guess that there are some rural concerns vis-a-vis the county that would be important to be heard and are going to be diluted. Similarly, there are city concerns that may not be shared by those outside of the fingers of those districts that lay out in the suburbs that aren't going to be shared, and then the city voices are going to be diluted in the process. So I would simply ask that as it pertains to the county, what people have the most in common with regard to the issues before the county it should be a governing purpose, or I would submit should be a governing purpose in the redistricting of this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Bryn was the last speaker who signed up. Is there anyone else who would like to make a comment? Please. Can I get your name just for the list?
Sure.
That's fine.
My name is Don Sala. I'm a resident of Pompey, and I was happy to see that you were having this hearing today and happy to be here to hear people's comments. But I'm not sure why you're having the hearing, because it is clear to me that the process is moving ahead. We hear that there are going to be maps presented next week. Every comment, almost every comment we heard, Mr. Knapp, was slow the process down, go back and revisit the commitment to nonpartisan redistricting, and you're not taking questions and answers. So I'm not sure what this does. It may just raise frustration levels for the people who came. You need to go back and tell your fellow legislators that what you're hearing is cancel those meetings on the last part of October, start this process all over, and take it slow and live to your commitment for unbiased, nonpartisan redistricting.
One more?
Can I just ask a question about the process? How will the commission resolve what we're saying today? They're not here.
We have a stenographer who is getting down every.
So they'll have notes on our calendar.
Absolutely.
And it's also being video recorded, which will be posted to the reapportionment website, as well as the County Ledge Facebook page. So,
Yeah, so the legislature has on the legislature website, there's a reapportionment link where you can just click on that and you can make comments. You can, look for information or request information or for anything else. And we'll be checking that often, obviously. Okay? Yes, Legislator Kuhn.
I just have, again, a question about process. So I understand about, not taking back and forth right now, but when the maps are presented, if people have questions about, the rationale, will the rule change so that people can get
I
some response?
envisioned a process kind of like they did with the I-81 situation where you have the map, some of the maps up and folks look and we'll be, folks will be standing there and having a discussion.
Okay, so it's not like this.
That's my vision.
I share that vision. I would like to get back into a back and forth of questions after the maps are done. I think, like many of you, I was unsure of what these meetings today would be because we don't have maps. So I think the thought was that we would hear about what you either like or don't like of the old maps, and then hopefully that would inform our decisions in our process of making maps this weekend. Yeah, we did, and we did today too. So I know I'll be taking those comments into account.
Okay? Any other?
My name is Jeannie Gleisner. I'm a resident of LaFayette, and I just wanted to add my voice to a lot of what I've heard here regarding the timing of this whole thing. That's my big concern, is that as citizens, we have so little input in this process. We're here, we can make comments, but to have this thing advance through this whole process in a matter of 2 weeks, I don't see how